She looked me dead in the eye, lifted her wine glass, and said, "Guess you'll die alone, huh?" And my parents, they laughed. That was the moment I knew this wasn't just a family dinner. It was an ambush. Hi, I'm Maya. 35. No husband. No kids. And apparently, according to my family, that means I've failed at life. But here's what they didn't know. I've been the invisible safety net under every one of their lives. Especially my sister Jenna's. They see me as the single one, the one who's too busy to settle down. What they don't see. The rent I've paid when Jenna and her husband couldn't make ends meet. The bills I've covered. The emergencies I've quietly solved. So when Jenna mocked me at the table, out loud, in front of everyone, something in me snapped. Not in anger. In clarity. Because that night, I said one sentence that changed everything. And what followed? Let's just say, it wasn't just awkward. It was the beginning of the end, for the way they lived off me without ever saying thank you. But before I get to that moment, you need to hear what led up to it. You ever been insulted with a smile? Like someone dressed up their insult in pearls and perfume and handed it to you like a gift? That was Jenna. My younger sister, professional stay-at-home martyr, Olympic-level passive-aggressive champion. Dinner started fine, roast chicken, wine, clinking glasses. You know, the fake harmony families wear like formal wear during holidays. Then it began. Jenna leaned across the table, smiling so sweetly you'd think she was auditioning for a toothpaste commercial. "You're always traveling, Maya. Must be so freeing. No one to come home to, right?" She chuckled. My mom smiled into her wine. I forced a laugh. But then it kept coming. "My kids call her the mystery aunt," she said, nudging her husband like it was some inside joke. "She's never around. Too busy for bedtime stories." My dad nodded like it was gospel truth. Like my work, my independence, my choices were just symptoms of a lonely life. And you know what? I stayed quiet. Not because I agreed. Because I was calculating. Years of silent generosity, and this is what I get? Have you ever sacrificed for people who only remember your absences, never your help? Because I sat there, being mocked with a mouthful of mashed potatoes, and I realized something. Respect? That had an expiration date. And Jenna? She was about to taste it. You ever watch someone go from petty to cruel in one sentence flat? Because that's what Jenna did next. She raised her glass, smirked like she rehearsed it in the mirror, and said, "No husband. No kids. No legacy. But hey, your apartment's cute." Laughter. Not loud, not explosive, worse. It was soft. Complicit. The kind that slithers across the table like a private joke you're not in on. My dad let out a chuckle through his nose. My mom gave one of those closed-mouth smiles, like she didn't approve but wasn't about to stop it either. And me? I froze. Not in weakness, in calculation. Because I knew what they didn't. I knew that the very chair Jenna was sitting in, the gas that got her here, the wine she was sipping, all paid for by the woman she just humiliated. Have you ever been so disrespected, it made you grateful? Grateful for the clarity? Because in that moment, all the years of "don't make a scene" just died. I looked at her, not angry. Calm. Dead calm. And in my head, I was already drafting the sentence that would blow her little world apart. I waited until everyone settled. Until their giggles faded. And then I spoke. But what I said didn't just shut her up. It exposed everything she never wanted the room to know. Ever drop a truth so heavy it lands like a brick in the middle of a dinner table? I did. I set my fork down, took a breath, and said, "Funny. You've never paid your own bills, I have. But not anymore." Silence. Jenna blinked. My mom paused mid-sip. My dad frowned like he wasn't sure he heard me right. So I leaned in, calm, collected, clear. "Your phone bill? Auto-paid from my account. Your kids' school fees? Me. Last year's rent crisis? I covered that too. Quietly. While you joked about my cute apartment." Now everyone was looking at her. I pulled out my phone. Scrolled. Tapped once. "This is the last payment you'll ever get from me." Jenna's husband, Brian, stared at her like she was a stranger. "You told me your sister helped once. Not that she's been funding us." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Have you ever watched someone's entire illusion collapse in real time? Because in that moment, the image Jenna built of being the together one, the traditional success, shattered. And what replaced it? Debt. Dependency. Denial. You know what's funny? I didn't raise my voice. Didn't even blink. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is no. But the moment that truly unraveled it all, it didn't come from me. It came from Brian. And what he did next. Even I didn't see that coming. You ever see someone get hit by the truth and then hit again by the consequences? Brian looked at Jenna like she'd just confessed to living a double life. Because in a way, she had. You told me she helped, he said slowly, like each word tasted bitter. You said it was a one-time thing. Jenna's voice cracked. I didn't think it mattered. It matters, Brian snapped. You let her bankroll our lives while you sat here mocking her? He stood up, pushed his chair back so fast it scraped the floor. The air went cold. My parents didn't say a word. Not one word. Suddenly, their golden daughter wasn't so shiny. You know what's ironic? The woman they pitted for being single was the one holding the whole family up. I didn't gloat. I didn't smirk. I just grabbed my coat, slid my phone into my purse, and stood. Thanks for dinner, I said. And I walked out. No shouting. No final jab. Just peace. Because that was the night I stopped paying for my family's approval and started investing in my own boundaries. But as I sat in the car, watching the house fade behind me, my phone buzzed. A message. From my dad. And what it said. Yeah, that changed everything again. You ever read a text that makes you feel like the door you just closed maybe needed to stay open just a little longer? It was from my dad. Just 3 words. We didn't know. That was it. No apology. No defense. Just confusion. Maybe regret. Maybe not enough of either. I stared at it, thumb hovering over the screen. What do you even say to that? Because they should have known. They should have known who paid for the roof over Jenna's head. Who made sure her kids got to school. Who let them keep pretending everything was fine. But they didn't want to know. That's the difference. And in that silence, in all the years I never corrected them, never defended myself, I gave them permission to believe the story that made them comfortable. The one where I was incomplete. Unsettled. Less. But here's the truth. I'm not less. I was more than enough. Just not in the way they valued. And that's okay. That night didn't just expose Jenna. It exposed all of them. The expectations. The favoritism. The quiet betrayal. So I never texted back. Because closure doesn't always come in a response. Sometimes, it comes in choosing not to explain yourself anymore. No husband? No kids? No burdens either. And for the first time, that felt like freedom.